Hey everyone, welcome. We're going to get started in just a moment here, but I want to kind of look over at the chat and see who we got in the chat today. We got Jason, Rocky Mountain Sounds. What's up, dude? My lovely wife, Cynthia. Hi. Some friends, Zach, Kevin, Big Pluck, Michael Kirby. I think Steven's in there. Bob Wilson, what's up? How are you guys? This is great. This is going to be so much fun today. Thank you for joining us. Really love the intro music we had. That was all Unclean Machine. So I like my machines unclean. Some wonderful sounds there from Tolga. Love that stuff. Oh, Alex is in the chat as well, too. What's up, Alex? Tim Dale. What's up, guys? So why are we here? What are we doing? Well, we are going to have some fun. We are starting our Explorations live stream. So what is the Explorations live stream? Well, when we first introduced Omnisphere, we told you it would take a lifetime to explore all the possibilities of what you could do with Omnisphere. So that's what we intend to do. Not the lifetime part. I'm not going to sit here for the entirety of my life and show you Omnisphere. But we will go into the possibilities part. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share some knowledge and different techniques and tips and tricks and ways that you can get the most out of your Spectrasonics instruments. For today's session, I'm going to focus mainly on Omnisphere, Keyscape, Trilian, and sonic extensions. I'm going to be using sonic extensions, some sounds, and a ton of the effects from sonic extensions as well. Who else we got in there? Strangely Isolated Place, what's up, Ryan? Todd's in there. And we got a whole big friends and family in here. This is great. Cool. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to create an atmospheric drum and bass track, but I'm going to do this in a way by using, it's kind of a technique that I've been using a bunch in my own productions, and I kind of call it upcycling. And basically what it is I'm taking a piece of music that I've already recorded, I've already released, it's already sort of out there in the world, and I'm going to take a little piece of that music and I'm going to repurpose it into something else. Not really a remix per se, but sort of like a reimagining of what the original song was. And it's really fun to do. So what I'm going to do to do that is we're going to go into Ableton. That's going to be sort of our main thing here for the DAW that we're using. And we're going to build an atmospheric drum and bass track using one clip and one piece of a song. So the song itself is this song right here. It's called Any of Those Lies. It's a tune that my wife and I have a group called Awakened Souls. And this particular song is from an album. We worked with our friend Kevin, who is from overseas. I think he's in the chat too. And the song is called Any of Those Lies. So here's just a little snippet of it. As you can see, there's the audio. Now there are many other parts to this. I can just kind of scan forward so you can hear that. As you can hear there's a bunch of stuff going on. So let's stop that for now. So what I want to do is I want to take that and I want to bring that into Omnisphere. So I'm going to go to my first track here, which is Omnisphere. And I'm going to use a granular mode for this. So the easiest thing to do is if you've got a song like this, this song in its entirety is somewhere around like 4 or 5 minutes. And that's going to be too much audio for us to use because when you're using granular, you're going to get like just maybe the first half of the song or so. So what I might want to do is actually trim this audio to be kind of what I want, the pieces of it that I want to use. And I can do that just really easily in live by just kind of selecting a range and then right-clicking and saying crop audio. I've already done that to this audio clip. So what I'm going to do at this point is go into Omnisphere, and I'm just going to drag that audio clip that's been cropped into the granular page. Just right there on the window. And that's in the zoom mode, by the way. So if you've never gone into granular, when you hit the oscillator zoom, you can get into the granular page right there. So it's loaded it in now, as you can see. So let us know. And so now if I play this sound just on the keyboard itself, you can hear it's playing from the start. Just bump up, get a little bit more volume here. And the way this works right now in granular mode with this sound loaded in, I'm not using granular just yet. Right now it's just loaded in as user audio. So this sound is going to be basically playing on the keyboard. As I play higher up on the keyboard, it'll just play back faster and higher in pitch. So you can get that chipmunky thing. Right, so as I do that, lower. So we're going to do this, we're going to make this a little more interesting. Rather than having it do that, play the same sound all the way across the keyboard, I'm going to turn granular on. Now, the first thing when using granular is you want to adjust some of these settings at the bottom here, these parameters, to get the desired effect. Normally, with granular, when you first turn it on and it defaults on, it has these pitch grains on, and those will allow you to get different grains or different slices of grains to either jump up or down in different ranges of semitones, and you can set that to like octaves, sevenths, fifths, lots of cool stuff. But for this purpose of what I want to do today, I don't want the pitch grains on. I don't want to have any of that happening. So I'm just going to turn that off by just dialing down the knob. And then these particular knobs right here, the grain depth and the intensity, are going to help me dial in the sound a bit more. But first I want to talk about the modes of granular. So there's 2 different modes, and these 2 different modes kind of depend or decide how your user audio is going to be processed in granular. There's either through speed, which is the grains themselves that are being triggered, will be playing either forward or backwards in speed, and this changes the speed at which they're being triggered. Or the position, which is actually this slider now actually goes through the different ranges of the sound itself and allows you to change where you are. So I want to actually do something where I'm getting the speed and adjusting that. So as I do that, you can see that it's playing back a sound, and I'm going to bump it up a little bit more again. Give ourselves a little more volume on this. It's got a lot of spread, so I'm going to actually take a little bit of that spread down, make it a little more mono, a little more centered. And we're going to turn smoothing on so we can hear a little bit less of the choppiness between the grains. So it's a little smoother there. Now, if I adjust the intensity, here it can get a little more atonal and interesting, but not for what we're going to do here. We want to have something very atmospheric. So I'm going to leave the intensity down and turn the grain depth up a bit. Now, as you notice, what's happening, you can see that like every time I trigger a key, it's just playing back from the beginning of the sample, right? It's starting right off at the top. So I want to adjust that. I want to have this actually jump around a bit as I'm playing the sound and have it jump to different sections of the sound that's in there, the user audio that's in there, because I want to grab, there's some vocals in there later on, so I want it to occasionally grab those vocals and maybe throw those into the mix. And the way I can do that is when I get out of oscillator zoom here, this start parameter right here, this is the sample start parameter. So as I change that, you can see now that's getting into the section where there's some vocals and things like that. But I want this start parameter to kind of change every time I hit a note. I want it to randomly go from one to the next. So what I'm going to do is right click on it, and I'm going to use our flex mod feature here. And I'm going to go to modulate with randomize. Why modulate with randomize? Well, because what randomize does, when I use random as a source, it will give me a random value every time I hit a new note, which is exactly what I'm looking for. And what I can do over here in this handy little modulation side window here is I can dial in exactly the start point, sort of where I want it to live around, sort of the area, and then the range of how much I want it to sort of stretch out beyond that initial strike point. So with that dialed in, and I'm going to go back over to granular so you can see what's happening. So you see what's happening as I play the same key. It's jumping around in the sample, and that's going to give me exactly what I'm looking for. I might actually get a little bit more in the source to kind of expand the range a bit. And then I'm going to set the target to be a little bit more biased towards the left, kind of favoring the beginning of the sample more than towards the end. And every once in a while, I wanted to jump out. Cool. All right, so that's kind of cool. That's a lot going on. All right, so what I want to do now with that is I'm going to go and let's give it something that kind of, I want this to be a pad, right? So I want this to have a smoother sort of coming in and letting go of the sound. Right now, there's no envelope. There's a very short sort of attack, very short release. So it's kind of doing that. So I want to give it more attack, a little slower. And it's still letting go too quick, so we're going to dial up our release a bit. That's kind of getting there. I want to actually go into the zoom page on the envelope a bit. And when I do that, I can actually see the curve of what the envelope is. And I like that this curve right here is a little more exponential here. So we'll do that same sort of curve. And all I'm doing to change the curve itself is if you click on with your pointer on that area of the curve, you can adjust it. So I can actually get a little more of a logarithmic out as well. So this is going to give me a nice, and let go and let it sort of like go off on its own there. That sounds pretty good. If I wanted the envelope to be a little bit either quicker or a little bit longer, it'll still go through the stages the way I've set it up here, but I could actually make the envelope be a little bit shorter or a little bit longer by using this speed slider here. So if I dial that up, I might dial it up just a little bit to the right because I do want it to be sped up just a bit. And maybe dial back a little bit on the release time. Nice, nice. Oh, I did forget to mention, by the way, we are going to be doing a giveaway today. So that'll be towards the end. But pay attention because I am going to be asking some questions. I'm going to ask one question towards the end. And there are some clues on the set, but that's all I'll say about it right now. But we will get to that later. So stay with me. So I think I've got the envelope kind of dialed in where I like it. It's pretty nice, right? Sounds pretty good. Now, if you notice here, I'm not sure how many of you have gone into the realms of diving into Omnisphere in an initialized patch and starting from scratch. That's what we're doing here. But there are a lot of things that you can use in Omnisphere to make your process a little smoother and a little easier. If you're not someone who is really knowledgeable about exactly everything that's going on with ADSR and all of that, there are some presets in the ADSR, in the envelope, that you can use as a good starting point. So you can just click on this arrow here, and you can see there's tons of presets, and there's everything from complex envelopes to LFO style, what have you. And you can even save your own. So let's say I like this envelope and I want to make this the JB long patch. I can do that by just clicking save, naming it, and there it is. And I actually have it, some stuff down here, as you can see. But we won't go there for now. But just so you know, very cool. So again, we've got, I think, a good pad here, but I want to sweeten it up a little bit more, right? So let's go and go into the effects. And so for this, what I want to do, I want to use the sonic extension effects. In particular, the effects that we included with Nylon Sky, which if you haven't checked out, by the way, you definitely need to check out the sonic extensions that we have. We just announced them a short time ago. I'm going to be using them pretty heavily, at least the effects, and then some patches as well in this entire session. So you're going to get a good idea of what's under the hood here. So we're going to go to the sonic extensions folder, and I want to use the Sky channel on this granular pad. And the Sky channel is great. It's a Class A modeled channel strip, vintage console, gives this character, just gives a lot of really good character to the sound. And when you drive the input section, it gives you like that good saturation, like you're driving the preamp kind of on a good old console. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to drive the input a bit. This is going to get louder, so let me bring this down a bit. Highs and mids. We'll cut the lows because I don't want those kicks that come in, because there is drums in the original song. So I don't want those kicks that are going to come in to really kind of overtake too much, because this is drum and bass. So I'll be putting some stuff in the lower registers later. So for now, we'll do that. We'll just get some low cut there. And just for reference, that's without Sky channel. Right, and now we'll pop it on. It's beautiful. Really, it kind of gives it a lot of life and brightens up that top end a bit, because it did boost a bit, but the saturation is nice. And I can even go into the more page and give it a little bit extra saturation on the tape machine emulation that's in here. Again, we'll A/B it without. Whiff, just right away, just a lot of life. And you know what? That's a long release. Let's scale that back a little bit, shall we? Let's go in here and we'll kind of turn that down just a touch, because that's really long. There we go. Let's go back to our effects. And as if this pad wasn't lush enough, let's make it even more lush. And we'll do that by putting in the Sky Verb. I love this reverb. If you have not heard this or used this yet, you are going to want this. It is just gorgeous. I'm going to use one of the presets here. There are presets on all of the effects. I don't know if you haven't looked into that. Check it on everything in the effect rack. When you look at our effects that are there, when you add one, there are presets there as well. So I'm going to use the Airy Skies preset, but I'm going to just do a little bit of tweakage on this and give it a little bit more clouds and trails. We're going to really make this washy. Beautiful. Love it. And I think for fun, I want to put in a seismic pump as well. This is going to give it a little more motion, a little more movement. but I want to make sure I'm not giving it too much hyping. So I'm going to turn some compression down a bit before I get into it. And I'm going to change the rate to be a slower rate because this is an atmospheric drum and bass song. So everything's going to be kind of chugging along pretty fast, but I don't want the pads to chug along too fast. I kind of want them to be more sort of like evolving and slow and really dreamy. So I'm going to use Seismic Pump on this with a slower rate. And then let's try a different source of, let's try this wavy shape. Let's hear what it sounds like without it first. And then let's add it. That's really nice. I like that. All right, I think we've got a pretty good little pad vibe here. So I think what I want to do at this point is I want to just let's record a part. So we'll turn the metronome on. And we will make sure we don't have anything else playing here. And we're going to record a little clip here, something to kind of go along with as we build our track. So let's just start that. Got that going. Turn the metronome off for a second. I think what I'm going to do is let's scale a little bit, kind of tone down on the Seismic Pump. We'll just give it a little mix of the original back in there along with it. That sounds pretty good. And watch our levels. Okay, cool. So I got that vibe. Now let's name that so I know what it is. Audio pad. Sweet. Okay, let's go to the next one here, and let's make sure we have this up for when I need to tweak it. All right, next one up. What do we got here? Oh yes, a lovely initialized Omnisphere sound. We use this much in all of our productions, yes? All right, so I'm not going to create something from scratch on this one. I think for this, what I want to do is we'll play that first clip. Let's let that granular pad play, but I'm going to keep it pretty low in the mix because this particular sound really likes to take over. It's a lot of mids, a lot of highs, so it's pretty upfront and in your face. So I want to kind of keep that a little bit lower. And I think for this second part that I want to add, let's go with some Keyscape. So I'm going to go into the Keyscape library. And I think an electric piano would be good here. The Rhodes probably would be good. I think that'd be nice. That'll work, but I want to take that and let's go with something a little more lush. How's this LA Custom Lush? Ooh, that's nice. That'll work, but I want to tweak it some. So let's stop this clip. And that way we can just listen to the Rhodes on its own here. Which is, by the way, that's the same Rhodes. Look at that. It's there, there. Doesn't sound the same. That's not hooked up at the moment. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go in, since I'm using Keyscape right now actually as a satellite, not sure if you know this, but if you have Omnisphere and you have Keyscape and you have Trilian, all of those instruments can actually be accessed from within Omnisphere. So by using Omnisphere as the main synth, I can access the Keyscape library and the Trilian library. So I'm going to access the Keyscape library, and there's a reason why I'm doing this. And that's because I want to take this patch, and I want to be able to kind of edit it a little bit further, add some effects, do some different things with it, which I can't do as much. I can't go deeper when I'm in Keyscape. I can do all of the surface editing that we have on these controls here, but if I want to really get in there and change effects and add some other parts, I can do it in Omnisphere. So that's what I'm doing. I've got the Keyscape sound. I'm going to use this LA custom lush sound, and I'm going to click on this little X up here, and that's going to take me into the Omnisphere, which is behind what we're hearing the Keyscape sound is. And where are we again? Yeah. So what I want to do is I want to take the sound, I want to give it a little bit more sort of like animation and something different. So the first thing I was thinking would be fun to do on this is to use an arpeggiator, and instead of just using a standard sort of, I don't want to do that on this song because that's sort of straight ahead stuff. I want to actually make use of one of the really cool new features that were added to Omnisphere by way of sonic extensions. And that is in the Arpeggiator with Nylon Sky, we actually added a new feature in Omnisphere that allows you to have strumming and patterns now. So I'm going to use one of those strum patterns on Keyscape to give it a different sort of a feel, different vibe than you normally get out of this patch. So let's see what some of them sound like here. And I think there's one in here I know I like a lot for this type of vibe, which is, where is a transponder? Where are you? Oh, this is in the, sorry, I'm not looking in the strums. I am looking in the actual patterns. So here we go. There you are. Okay, so this one I really like. So I like that. That's going to work for me. And I might even dial that up to 16th notes, see how that sounds. No, not 1/32, 16th. Thank you. That's kind of nice. I like that. But let's get in and do some fun stuff with some effects on it. So I can see there's an EQ here. I don't think I'm going to, that's off at the moment, so I'm going to replace that. And again, I want to, I really, if you haven't figured it out by now, I really like Sky Channel. So I'm going to put that on this as well. Again, without width, we're going to bump up a little bit, give it a little bit of, take some of those lows and mids out, give it a little more sparkle. Do a little low cut on it too. Take it without the Sky Channel and see how that sounds. Right? Big difference. All right, and I also want to use another effect here, which is, I'm going to use the under echo, which is from the undercurrent sonic extension. So this one is really fun. This is sort of like a pitch shifting ambience processor with some other fun stuff under the hood. And so it's a delay based and like tape delay based with some pitch shifting, and it's just super fun. So I'm going to use this, but I'm going to use, again, one of the presets, which there's some fun ones in here. Might as well use that as a starting point. I like the Crystal Octaves one. And we'll hear that again, the same patch. So there's a lot going on there. So I'm going to want to dial this back a bit. First thing I want to do is, let's see what the time is like. Quarter should work. I'm going to see how the taps sound with them off. I like that. We're going to do a little bit of a spread. We'll change the spread a little bit to slightly off of center and bring down the echo feedback. And we got a lot of ducking in here. I'll just take out some ducking and bring in a little bit more of the pitch shifting and a little bit more of the verb. So, yeah, that's good. We'll kind of bring that down a bit. All right, so I think that's going to work. Oh, and I think I want to put another seismic pump on this one too, but I'll put it on, but I'm going to wait until we actually start building the song to see what setting is going to work best for this one. So I'll kind of leave it on, but I won't have it quite engaged just yet. So let's hear with what we've got going on. All right, so I'm going to record this part here. So we'll go into recording. That's going to work. Now we'll put the pump on and see how it sounds with this. What are we seeing on the chat here? Hang on. I'm hearing some stuff happening on the chat. Strummed Rhodes. That goes into the category sounds we never knew we needed. Right? Strumming Rhodes. Why not? It's kind of hard to take a plectrum and make it sound like that. So it's fun exploring new ideas and new techniques. That's kind of what we're all about here. So thank you. I'm glad that you got that, Tim. Thank you for noticing, and we're going to do some more fun stuff like that. Okay, so let's get in. Let's hear what we have here for a second. I don't want to get off track too much. And I'm going to quantize that because, you know, playing is something I do a little bit of. Where's my quantize? Quantize. All right. I just kind of want little flourishes, you know. I just don't want. I don't want it to be too overpowering. It's just this little sort of flourish that happens, and this little flourish that's happening in with the atmosphere that's there. All right, that sounded pretty good. Let me just name that so I know what we got here. And this is a sort of strummed Rhodes, let's call it. Why not? All right. Let's go to the other track here. And I think at this point we've got the atmosphere part of the atmospheric drum and bass thing that we're going to make, but we don't have the bass part yet. So let's do some bass, shall we? So we'll stop these clips for a second. And I know that there are going to be basically two kinds of basses that I want in this tune. One's going to be sort of like your traditional, really sort of knocking sub that just happens to kind of give you that nice drop here and there. And then the second one's going to be something that has a little bit more sort of movement and a little growly in the low end. So let's go with the first one. And I know that, like I said, I want it to be a sub, but since we're dealing with bass and that's what sound we want, why not go to Trilian, right? So I'm going to select Trilian as the directory that we're going to look at. And I know I want a sub, so I'm just going to go to the search window and type in sub. And that'll give me a whole bunch of stuff that I can go through. I kind of already know that the sub pure is the one. I mean, let's go through it. That's kind of the one I need. It's got the mojo. I might do a little bit of tweakage here. Kind of take some of those upper harmonics off, maybe a little ring, and let a little drive. Sounded pretty good. And again, I want to go into this, and maybe we can bump this up a bit. Let's go into Under Fire and give it a little bit. We're not going to go too heavy on the drive here. And that's giving that nice warmth, right? So without it, and then with it. Nice, right? That's a good one. I think that'll work for what we need. And maybe I'll dial off a little bit of the drive that was in there. Maybe take back some of the harmonics. That's nice. Let's look at the chats. We've got something on it. What is that little controller you have atop your keyboard? This guy right here. This is an APC 40, right? So this is what I use to control live. It's super handy, so definitely check one out. Been a record producer since 1978. Would like Spectrasonics to show producer mics how we could best use your products in the studio. Keep tuning in. That's what we're doing. We're showing you how you can use these products in your studio, either whether it be home studio or in a production studio. And yes, Mr. Romaine, never seen that sub. It's a good one. Use it. It's really a cool sub. I like it, and you'll see. So let's go and put that sub in here. So let's play what we've got currently. And we'll turn that metronome on. And then I'm going to record a bass line to go in with this. Wait until the next turn. So we'll do a little editing on that. So where we're at. Fix my flubs. You know, we're cooking it up here. Sometimes I might get it a little bit off, but that's probably okay. We'll see. Pretty good. All right, so the next part I would like to add here is a respace. So a respace is something that's sort of a low subby sound with lots of movement on it. Tends to be detuned sawtooth waves or could be square waves, but it's usually a very heavily detuned sub sound that has some movement, and some of the top end tends to be rolled off. So what I want to do to get that is I'm going to use the search feature, and we're going to actually search for Reese. Believe it or not, we actually have one in here. Let's see what we've got here. Type in. Oh, not. Make sure we spell it correctly, people. Okay, so we've got a few options to choose from. We have the beef Reese, which sounds like this. Right, so that's that one. Little much going on in the top end for me on that one. Kind of nice. That one's from the Bob Moog Tribute Library. Kind of nice. Yeah, that's probably going to be the one, but let me go back and try some others. Yeah, Crowd Control Reese is the one, I think. Let's try some other scenes here. Yeah, that's sufficiently angry. I think we'll use that one. But I want to take down some of that top stuff. I just want this to be this sort of brooding, low thing, animal that's kind of living in those lower registers and just kind of sliding around in that. We're going to take down some of the glide on this because I don't want it to be too slidey. And maybe take a little bit of that filter envelope off. So we kind of lose that if you hear. It's sort of like at the beginning. We'll take that down. Yeah, that sounds good. Let me get a little chorus. Oh. Nice and ugly. That'll be a good sort of juxtaposition from the really pretty sort of floaty stuff that's going on, and we'll get this nice little angry little beastie at the low end there. So let's hear that all together. So we'll keep the metronome on. I'm going to keep this metronome on because I want to save the drums for last. We'll build the music first, and then we'll throw the drums in at the end. All right, so I'm going to give this a little bit of a lead in here. And we'll get started. We're recording. Yes, good, cool. Yeah, let me see what we're going to do with this sound. Let me delete that one and we'll go to a different one here. I'll delete that clip, we'll do another one. Let's start again. Oh no. Recording, start. Part of that clip I think is what I'm going to keep, so let's go look at that. So we'll do the second 8. These guys right there. And I'm going to, again, take them and quantize a bit. Let's see how that sounds. We'll solo that guy out. Kind of take a little more top end out, just kind of grunge it up a bit more, just give it that nice little stuff at the lower end. And we'll bring everything else in. There's the drums. Pretty cool. So we just kind of built that now in Scratch. That was super fun. Lots of stuff that we went over. I'm going to take a few questions here. Let's see what we got going on. So Stereolab. Oh, what else do you got here? So how you dropped your initial clip from Ableton in Omnisphere's granular function. Can you drop clips in other modes of the oscillator, such as the envelope mode? No, actually you can't. Because what we're doing there is we're using a feature called User Audio that Omnisphere has that we added back in Omnisphere 2, right? So we've got user audio is really cool because you can do that. You can take your audio clips, whatever it be, a piece of music that you've already created, your child singing, what have you, and you drop it into Omnisphere into the user audio location. Now, if you're not using Granular, there is a specific user audio page that you could do that and drop it in as well, which if you go to Omnisphere and you go into the browser itself, when you go into the area here, you'll see over here when you don't have something loaded, it would actually say user audio. You can drop it in there. And there's a section there as well. If you look, we'll go up. See right here, it says user audio. You click on that. You can drop in your user audio from any source. If it's an audio clip from Ableton, you could do that, drop that into the audio clip, into the user audio section. And now you have that audio as something you can process through Omnisphere, which is exactly what we did, right? We took it, ran it through Omnisphere's filters, used modulation on the audio sound. We used granular on it. We used effects. We did a ton of processing and created a piece of music out of something that existed in an entirely different piece of music, right? So super fun, kind of fun way to get and take something and upcycle it and do something new with it. Let's see what we can do on the chat here. Seth, what's up, Seth? Inside the ride, yes. What else we got in here? Todd, how are you, man? Thank you. Air for Effect, what's up, dude? Cool, can't wait to get Sonic extensions, Robert. Can't wait till you get them either. Love to hear what you do with them, especially if you do some processing and stuff through the effects. They're really, really cool. You're going to love that. See anything else here? Isaac, thank you. Appreciate that, brother. All right. Well, I think we might want to think about doing the giveaway now, yeah? What you say? You guys want to do a giveaway here? Yeah? You guys ready for a giveaway in the chat? Yes? Okay, so this is kind of a trick question. In my set, if you look behind me here, we have a lot of really gorgeous synthesizers. And many of them share something in common. What is that? There is a hint. If you're looking at the screen right now, you can see on the Omnisphere screen, there is something that all, well, not all, but probably about 75% of the synths behind me all share. And what do they share? What is something they all have in common? First person that answers that, we will give you one of a Sonic extension of your choice. So that's our giveaway for today. We are going to be doing more giveaways as we do more of these streams, and we're going to be doing some great giveaways as well. But for today, we're giving away a Sonic extension, which is really cool. So you just got to answer. What is it? Jason, looks like you were the first one, huh? That's correct. Don't you already have these though, dude? Well, we've got a couple of people now. So Jason was the first one. And you are correct, Jason. Hardware synth integration is what they have in common. To be accurate, there are 5 synthesizers in this setup that support Omnisphere's hardware synth integration feature, which if you haven't used it, really cool. Basically what you do is right up here, you select which manufacturer and which model is supported. And once you do that and you have it connected, your synth now becomes a front-end controller for Omnisphere. So if you want to tweak the filter, you just go to the filter knob on your synth and you tweak it and you're off and running. So Jason, I mean, if you don't have them all, we'll send you one of these Sonic extensions, whichever one of your choice. Reach out to us, email us. You know where we are and we know where you are. So hit us up. Everyone else, thank you so much. I'm going to see if there's any more things in the chat here I want to get into. Let's see, Brim, you were correct too, but just a little late on it. Sorry. Next time though, please tune in next time and you can definitely have a chance to win. Yeah. Oh, you don't have any Sonic extensions yet, Jason. Well, that's great. Well, now you do. Now you have to think about which one you want. And there are 4. So choose wisely. All right. So I think that's pretty much it for today. We should probably wrap this up. I want to thank you guys so much. Oh yeah, we're doing it next week. So join us next week. We are doing another couple of these, and this is going to be a new series that we're doing. So join us for the ride. We'll be back with more explorations next week. Thank you guys for tuning in, and please send in any questions or any ideas and things that you might want us to cover. Please send them on to me. I'll be happy to tackle it in some future episodes. And otherwise, thank you. What are we doing here? We got, which one, guys? I'm not sure what I'm looking at. Oh, capture random modulations behavior after the fact. You just have to print it in each time. Oh, you're talking about the random when I was using the key things. Yeah, it just would be something where you would print it. Yeah, if you really wanted to take that effect and have it be like whatever I played is the way it is, then you would want to record that as an audio part on another track. That way you get the actual randomization from as you're playing it. And that could be fun to chop up and maybe throw back into user audio as well and process even further. As we say in the drum and bass world, rinse it. You could rinse that sound a bit more, right? All right, so I think that's it, right? We good? Thank you, guys. Appreciate you joining us today, and I'll be back next week with more explorations. Cheers.